Hi everyone, this is a tutorial to help you with factoring. So first you have to understand that factoring is the reverse of multiplication. It's taking an expression and breaking it down into factors. So let's start with a multiplication problem and then we can look at how to reverse that process and work backwards. So given 2x minus 3 times x plus 4, think about how you would multiply that out. Distribute the 2x, so 2x times x is 2x squared. Then you do 2x times 4, that gives you 8x. Then you do negative 3 times x, which is negative 3x. And then negative 3 times 4, which is negative 12. So then when you combine your like terms, you have 2x squared plus 5x minus 12. So factoring is when you start with that expression, 2x squared plus 5x minus 12, and you break it down into factors. Okay, so think about how we got to that. We had multiplied the number here, or the term there, times the term there, and that gave us 2x squared. So whatever I write here and here has to multiply together to give me 2x squared. Now 2 is a prime number, so that's kind of nice. I know it's got to be 2 times 1, so 2x times 1x. Okay. Then the last thing we distributed was this term times this term. So whatever I write in those spots, you need to give me the negative 12. Okay, so this has some options. 12 is not a prime number. It could potentially be 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. I need to figure out the correct option that will give me the positive 5x in the middle. So here's one that I know is wrong. I'm going to use 1 and 12. Now, because it's negative 12, I know that one of those numbers would have to be positive and the other would have to be negative. But thinking ahead, I know that I'm going to distribute the 2x to the negative 12. That gives me negative 24x. And the 1 times the x, that gives me positive 1x. That's not going to combine to give me positive 5x. I know that's wrong. So instead, think about what option would give you positive 5x. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to go with negative 3 and positive 4, and let's think about why that works. Now, 2x times 4 is 8x, negative 3 times x is negative 3x, and that does combine to give me positive 5x. So now I've written an expression in factored form that's still equivalent to the original. Now, some people really stand by the grouping method. So if what I just showed isn't for you and you want to go with grouping, you do need 4 terms in order to do grouping. And right now, 2x squared plus 5x minus 12 is only 3 terms. So we need to create 4 terms out of that, split it into 4 terms. So if this is written in standard form, a is the coefficient of x squared, b is the coefficient of x, and c is the constant. So you take a times c, which is negative 24, and you're looking for 2 numbers that multiply together to equal negative 24. And then you look at b and you want those same 2 numbers to add up to give you positive 5. Okay, so what works for that is 8 and negative 3. So if you're doing grouping method, in order to split this up and make it into 4 terms, I'm going to rewrite that 5x as positive 8x minus 3x. So do you see how what I'm writing is equivalent to what's above? 5x is the same as 8x minus 3x, but now by writing it as 4 terms, I'm able to group them. So then I take the greatest common factor of the first group, that's 2x times x plus 4. And then I take the greatest common factor of the second group, that's a negative 3. So I'm subtracting 3 times x plus 4. Again, look at how what I'm writing in that line, if I was to distribute this and distribute this, it's equivalent to what's above. A common mistake I see students make is that, they like put parentheses around this, but that's just not correct. I'm not multiplying 2x squared plus 8x times negative 3x minus 12. Then that's no longer equivalent to the original expression. So make sure the way you're writing it is correct and every line is equivalent to what's above. Now the final step, I see that they both have x plus 4 as a common factor. So I can take out that x plus 4 and then I'm left with 2x minus 3. Okay, and look, same answer. It's broken down into factors, and if I multiply those two factors together, I do end up with the original expression. It's just a different approach. Okay, so again, that's called the grouping method. And that's ideal when you have 4 terms. And if you don't already have 4 terms, then you would need to make it into 4 terms in order to use that. Okay. So that's the basics. You can choose whatever method works for you. I tend to prefer this one myself, but I know some of you are diehard grouping method people. So that was a recap of grouping method for you. Some other special cases to be aware of. If the entire expression has a GCF, you should factor that out first. And the other thing to look for is difference of two perfect squares. So for example, 25x squared minus 4. Okay. It really follows the same principles that we just looked at. I'm breaking it down into factors. But if you notice that they're both perfect squares and it's the difference between them, that 25x squared, if I take the square root, that's 5x times 5x. That would give me 25x squared. And then minus 4, another perfect square, that's positive 2 times negative 2. And think about what happens when you, multiply this out to check. I would get negative 10x, and then here I would get positive 10x. So that just equals 0. That's why I'm not seeing an x term in the middle. Okay, so same premise, but if you notice that they're perfect squares, you can do that pretty quickly by just knowing that pattern, that it's going to be the square root of each term, 1 plus, 1 minus. So let me go through a few more examples. I'm going to go through these more quickly just so you see some more variety, and then you can give it a try yourself. Okay, so here's one. 6x squared minus 15x. Right away, I notice there's a GCF, so I want to factor out the GCF first before I do anything else. And then that's it. I can't break that down anymore. I can't factor it further. So I would stop there. That's factored completely. Okay, here's another example. 2x cubed plus x squared minus 18x minus 9. This already has 4 terms, so it lends itself really well to the grouping method. So I take the GCF of the first group, and then I take the GCF of the second group. Again, notice that what I'm writing is equivalent to what's above. If I was to distribute, it would match exactly the first step. And then they both have that factor 2x plus 1 in common. And then what's left over is x squared minus 9. Now notice, got to recognize those perfect squares. It's a difference of two perfect squares. So, sorry, let me set this up. That can be factored further. X squared is x times x. Negative 9 is positive 3 times negative 3. So now that's factored completely. For comparison, what about 3x cubed minus 5x squared plus 12x minus 20? Okay. GCF of the first group is x squared. That's the greatest common factor. And then a 4, hello. Positive 4. Notice I wrote a plus sign. Sometimes I see a lot of you don't write the plus sign. You just put 4. Think about why that's wrong. If I just write a 4 next to that parentheses, that's just saying, oh, multiply it all together. But really, I'm adding that first group to the second group. So you need to show the correct operations. Okay, then what they have in common is the 3x minus 5. And then what's left is the x squared plus 4. Can I factor that further? No, it's not a difference of two perfect squares. They're both perfect squares, but it's the sum of them, so there's nothing I can do to factor that further. Think about it. If I tried to, like if I did x plus 2 times x plus 2 times, sometimes I see students try to do that. That's not going to work because I would get positive 2x, and then I would get another positive 2x. So that would give me 4x in the middle. And there is no 4x. So there's no way to factor that further. There's no way to break it down. Okay. I have a few more examples written out to show you about x squared minus 11x plus 24. Okay, there's no GCF. So I'm going to go straight to my two factors. First term is x squared. That's x times x. Last term is positive 24. That has quite a few factor pairs. 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6. All the factors of 24. Okay, it's positive, so I know it has to be a positive times a positive or a negative times a negative. So now I want to think ahead about what's going to give me that negative 11x. So if I do negative 3 and negative 8, that will work because now when I combine negative 8x and negative 3x, that does give me negative 11x. So that's good. Okay, what about 5x squared plus 10x minus 120? There's a GCF. Recognize that. So I'm going to take the GCF out first. Now I can break this down more. The first term is x squared, so that's x times x. The last term is negative 24. So same factors that I listed in the previous example. This time it's negative though, so one has to be positive and the other has to be negative. So if I go with positive 6 and negative 4, now when I combine, that gives me negative 4x. That gives me 6x. Combined is 2x, so that works. Okay. And what about this one? 27x cubed minus 3. What's the first thing you recognize? There is a GCF. I probably meant to make that minus 3x. GCF is 3x. And then I'm left with 9x squared minus 1. Do you recognize? We have perfect squares. Difference of two perfect squares. So 9x squared, that's 3x times 3x. Negative 1 is positive 1 times negative 1. Okay, so now that's factored completely. So Sometimes you take out a GCF and then you can't break it down anymore. Other times you take out a GCF and then you can factor it further. That step. Okay, and you realize that after taking out the GCF, what remains can be broken down even more. So you want to keep going and factor it all the way. Okay. Final example. (3x squared minus 18, 118x minus 80, hitting you with some larger numbers here. Okay, there's no GCF. They're not all divisible by a common value other than 1. So I'm going to go to my 2 factors. First term is 3x squared, so that has to be 3x times 1x. The last term is 80. 1 times 80, 2 times 40, 4 times 20, 5 times 16, 8 times 10. Yes, 8 times, oh my gosh, just really blanked out there. 8 times 10. That is an option as well. Now I need to think big. I'm trying to get to negative 118. Okay, and thinking ahead, whatever number I put here is going to get multiplied times the 3. Okay, so I'm going to go with a positive 2 and a negative 40. Let's think about why I made that choice. 3x times negative 40 is negative 120x. And then in here, 2 times x is positive 2x. So yeah, that does combine to give me negative 118x. And I think the more you practice that, the more you're going to be able to see it more quickly and more efficiently and not feel like, oh, you have to write out all 5 of these combinations and multiply every single one out and try every single one. Hopefully, you'll be able to kind of visualize and recognize which one is going to work. So it doesn't just feel like aimless guessing and checking, but there's more intention behind it and more strategy behind what you're using. Okay. So hopefully that helps clear up some things with factoring. Let's take the rest of today to practice, really think through each problem, make sense of it, make sure what you're writing is equivalent to the line above. And then hopefully we're all going to be factoring masters by the end of this day. All right, I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.